Hello ladies and gentlemen, Richard the Dick Coughlan 000. This is going to be a new series of videos I'm going to do on this channel, News from the Bigots. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet. Either way, it's just going to be a short video where I talk about several stories from the week that I'd like to share with you regarding bigots and bigoted related activities that are going on about the world. Story number one, this comes from my favourite blonde-haired Dutch Islamophobe, Geert Wilders, is apparently planning on releasing a book in which is going to be titled Islam is Ideology. This of course comes from his favourite little dogmatic tenet that Islam is an ideology, not a religion, which is unfortunately something that can be debunked by anyone who's got a dictionary and 2 minutes. I'll give you a tip, Gert, here. Save yourself some time, buy a copy of Mein Kampf, cross the word Jew out and put Muslim. He is also apparently planning on working on and releasing a sequel to Fitna. God knows what that'll be about. Second story, and this is going to be a shocker for you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to give credit to the EDL. Yes, this week the EDL have severed ties with their Jewish division. Their Jewish division, which is headed by Roberta Moore, has recently, as I have reported, been linked with a group called the Jewish Task Force, who are known terrorist organisation. And the EDL, who are uncomfortable with this, made a statement saying they were not connected to them. The Jewish division hit back and said, yes, we bloody well are. EDL said, no, we're fucking well not. Then it's just got to a point now where the EDL have said, well, we don't want anything to do with terrorism or terrorists, so we're probably going to have to sever ties completely with the EDL Jewish division. You know it's getting bad when the Nazis are kicking out the Jews for being too extreme. Over in America, and lovely little piece of hypocritical anti-immigration bigotry here from a Republican called Brian Fisher, who recently said in an article printed on his website that Native Americans should have taken the example of Pocahontas and assimilated. I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen, it's arresting to think that how different the history of America and American settlement and expansion could have been if the other indigenous people had followed Pocahontas. She not only recognised the superiority of the god whom the colonists worshipped over the gods of the native people, she recognised the superiority, not the perfection, of their culture and adopted its patterns and language as her own. In other words, she both converted and assimilated. Had the other indigenous people followed example, their assimilation into what became America could have been seamless and bloodless. Sadly, it was not to be. I'm not making this up. And finally, a lovely little story here for another one, again from America, involving a Republican called Mike Hogan, who recently, in a speech he gave at a Catholic church, made a joke about bombing an abortion clinic. His exact words were, "Now I don't condone bombing abortion clinics, but it has crossed my mind." This, believe it or not, was greeted by a thunderous laughter and applause. Afterwards, when he was challenged about this, Mike Hogan said, "Well, I've got to measure everything, I say. I mean, I'm not going to be politically correct." Of course not. You're a politician. I wouldn't want you to be correct about anything. That was a joke. This was an audience for this. This is a Catholic church. I guarantee you they are 110% pro-life. And what would Jesus do? He'd joke about bombing an abortion clinic. Terrorism. It's hilarious. That's all from this week's edition of Bigoted Fucktard News. Richard the Dick Coughlan 000. Good night. May God bless.